Next video for 03 Ford Explorer. Just a little update. First I want to show you this tensioner guide, what came out of the motor. This piece was, the chain was still up against the chain. All the plastic pieces that came up here ended up on top of the head, but down inside I end up taking this thing out, plus these remaining pieces deep down inside the head there. Like I said, I just removed this. I didn't touch the chain. I did, but I didn't take it out. I didn't replace it. So going back to this motor here, get my flashlight. Turned out, I just want to update a couple things. On the first video, I was saying at the end the transmission lines were giving me a fight, but it was actually the air conditioning lines. These things right here in the way of the valve cover. And also, when I separated the transmission from the motor, I also had to take the nuts off for the bell housing to flywheel. I did that. I separated that way because you don't want to pull that torque converter out of the transmission because you will be able to set it back in. So reassembling it, I got my transmission back together. Let's see, I got that back together. I got the vehicle back to the ground. I'm on the ground now, so now the rest of the work is up on top. Now I'm going to attempt to try and get this valve cover back on. But also I did check the timing after I reassembled this. As I told you on the earlier video, the chain jumped, and I guesstimated where it jumped, but it turned out when you turn this crankshaft, you got a timing mark down there. I found it. It's a 0 and a 10-degree mark on that harmonic balancer. I rotate it, and I found I was off a tooth, so I had to reposition this cam. I had it marked to where, when it leveled out, where the top would be, so I had to put it approximately to the top. I just had a little mark back here, so I got it back to the top to free it so there was no tension on it. Like I said, you could rock it. You could see the valves are basically nothing pressurized. So I was able to take the bolts back out. I had to take it out. I had to jump at one more tooth. I tried to take the chain, take the new tensioner, this hydraulic thing, plug back here. I took that back out, hoping the chain would be loose enough to jump, but there's no way to do it. I had to take that little screw out on top of this guide, plastic guide I put in there. Took the screw out, took this plug, I think that's the actual called the tensioner plug, whatever. And like I said, I took them out. I tried to get the chain to jump, couldn't do it. Had to take all these bolts back out of the camshaft, lift it out. It was a problem getting it out again. You have to put a lot of pressure, pry up over here, and get this tail to come up just enough to kind of, it'll totally come out. And you gotta, I was able to jump the tooth for the chain and put it back down. Now see, when I rotate this harmonic balancer, basically the cam, this front lobe here is like in a 1 o'clock position right now, and that's also on 0. So that will go, you turn that harmonic balancer, and basically every other turn this will end up on 1 o'clock, this last lobe. So it's every other one. So that's how I found out. It wasn't lining up 100%, and I knew it was right there. So I backed it up one more tooth. I turned the engine again, left once I got my tooth jumped on the sprocket there, I made sure the cam was in the same spot, that level spot, and I backed the motor up one more time one more tooth, and I was able to reset that, retorque it. But like I said, if you rotate this bouncer every other turn, this lobe will end up at 1 o'clock. The other turn, one full turn, it'll end up the opposite way. So every other one, I knew I was close, so I went every other one, and I was getting close to 1 o'clock. But also this it has like a keyway or a couple holes on the end of the camshaft there. That'll be level with the head, and plus there's a flat spot on this thing right here on the cam. That'll be level. So that'll be level. It'll be in 1 o'clock position, and this will line up to 0. But like I said, if you're way off, I don't know exactly if that's right. But I know I was close. I seen what I did, and it should be on time now. Everything should be good. So I got the lower end all back together. I'm going to put this valve cover on. And I also wanted to update from the first video the bolts. Basically all these bolts are 30 millimeter. I'm saying 25, 27. But that bolt I had to get way in the back under the head for this tensioner guide thing. That was a 30 millimeter. This one on top right here for this tensioner thing is a 30 millimeter. Trying to get some light in here. This right here, this one bolt's 30 millimeter. These on this intake were 30 millimeter, but I found the one in the back way down 30, 27 works, 25 works. I found it was easier just to use the 25 or 27 to get it out, because it's not as hard to line it up when you're trying to work around there. It's not so tight using the Torx bit when you use something a little smaller. Once you break it loose, if you can get a 30 in there to break it loose, that's great. But anything smaller after works fine too, just to get it close and then go back to your 30 to give it the final tight. But that's about it. I had to pop the belt off. Down there so I can turn the pneumatic balancer. It's another 18 millimeter on the front of that pneumatic balancer. I can see by the rubber in the pneumatic balancer. It's definitely dry rotted. I know if I touch that, start pulling off, it'd probably fall apart on me and I have to replace the pneumatic balancer. But otherwise, that's about it. I just want a little update. Basically, it's all a 30 millimeter, and I wanted to update my timing, and that's it. I'm going to try and get this valve cover back on. Just doing a little cleaning up, getting tools organized. I had them all over the place. That's about it. See you, bye.